speedrunning chess while explaining every single move, until I commit one blunder. And today, for episode 2, I will try using the most aggressive openings for both white and black pieces. Be ready for 6 very spicy games. Let's go. We are in the Italian game and we play the 2 knights defense, inviting the fried lever. When knight g5, the knight and the bishop can attack the pawn on f7. We have it. So now important to play the move d5, blocking the attack of the bishop. This is the only defense, pretty much it. All the rest is bad. So now the pawn is taking and now we don't take back. No, because there is the knight sacrifice followed by queen f3, winning back the piece with extra advantages for white. Knight a5, this is the move to remember. We are attacking the bishop and the main move is to give a check with the bishop, so white would have time to defend this pawn. I'm saying would have time because actually to try to defend that pawn is not the right way. Usually white needs to develop as quickly as possible and to put the king to safety. Okay, now bishop d7 is not the main line, but is a very good variation. The idea is that I'm challenging the bishop, and if the bishop is moving, now I am taking this pawn. Should I take it immediately or should I? I've never seen this move, by the way. And after this, I have to always calculate, what about knight takes? What about now? And after king here, queen check. What is the difference? Aha, I see what's the difference. The difference is that after knight takes, king takes, queen check, I can go back with my knight because the knight is no longer pinned. Very good, now we have a free cheese macaroni. Why not? And I will try to show you a very sneaky way to checkmate the king. Usually once the king is castled, there is a weak pawn on g2 and a weak pawn on a7. So if you can attack one of these 2 points twice, that's usually super good. Now the bishop is attacking the knight, and also there is a problem because the move d4 wants to be played. So I have to be slightly careful here. I hope going with the queen, no, it was a piece to take, so that was not a blunder for sure. But now attention, let's not blunder here. So I will play knight here. I'm removing the knight from the attack, plus I am threatening some nasty things over there. Okay, so this pawn is not hanging because it's protected by the knight, which is very important. And now I think their idea could be to play the move. That move. But the point is that that move is not really attacking anything. So maybe we can just castle. Put the king into safety. If they take, I'm happy to take back. Trades are good since I have an extra piece. Okay, I just thought I had mate, but I don't have mate because this bishop is still on the way. But what if we try to get rid of that bishop? For example, this. Attacking here. Ooh, this is a blunder because now the knight is interfering the defense. And so we have the kiss of death. GG's. Before moving to the next game, let me thank the paid partner of today's video, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online platform that connects you with credentialed therapists, making it easy to get support wherever and whenever you need it. Personally, in my chess career, I have struggled a lot with perfectionism. If I lost a chess game, I felt like I was the failure, not just the result. Over time, I realized that tying your self-worth to your performance isn't just toxic, but is even stopping you from improving. Because one of my coping mechanisms was to offer lots of draws, to avoid at all cost the risk of losing, because this was just emotionally too draining for me. It feels very scary to say this online, but I wish I had started therapy earlier, because working through perfectionism hasn't just helped my chess. Now I'm having so much more fun with it, but it made just a huge impact also in my personal life. So if you have ever thought about starting therapy too, there is no better time to start. Go to betterhelp.com/Alessia Santeramo and get 10% off your first month. Just fill a quick questionnaire and you will match with a therapist who can fit your needs. Take care of yourself and your mind, and let's now go back to the game. New game, we have the white pieces. Let's go with the move e4, and I want to play the King's Gambit. This is the most aggressive opening in chess. It's a gambit where my idea is to give away a pawn in order to take full control over the center with the 2 pawns. Now d6 is a very unnecessary move because I'm actually not even threatening to take this pawn. Because if I would, there would be queen h4, giving a check and attacking the pawn on e4. So now I will just go out with my knight, blocking the move queen h4 forever and attacking this pawn one more time, which I'm actually, again, not threatening to actually take. Okay, now they take the pawn, so I go with the move d4, perfect, taking full control over the center and counter-attacking the juicy pawn on f4. Will they defend it with the move g5? This is the typical way to defend the pawn in the King's Gambit accepted. Or will they just go on with a development move? In general, in the King's Gambit, if they are not going to defend this pawn, and I'm able to take it back, white is better. State, point, dot. Because we have more space in the center, thanks to the 2 central pawns, those 2 good boys. And we are... Okay, I'll just snap this pawn out of the way. And equal material, good development. And one thing that usually you don't consider in e4, e5 structures, but it's very interesting in the King's Gambit accepted, is to castle long. Because then you can start an attack, a violent attack on the opponent king. And now, in this position, it's even more important since the g file is open. And my king would be weak there, while if I go for long castle, I can use the g file to attack. And that's very spicy. I love it. So attention now. If they go with bishop e7 followed by castle, they will be in big danger very, very quickly. I will anyway get ready to castle long. I'm waiting to develop this bishop because it's not clear yet where exactly the bishop will be strong. Now it is. Now it is because I'm going to play the move e5. Now the bishop gets an amazing diagonal on d3. Where is this knight moving? Probably here, attacking the bishop, but is protected by the queen. So we could simply proceed with the move long castle, I think. Okay, the knight is going backward. I'm not a fan of this move. I will just proceed with the castle. And now they need to do something about the king. They are waiting, but at some point, the waiting could be very dangerous. Already my rook is staring at a king. I'm really... I can't wait to push the pawn on e6 and open up the e-file if I can. Going with a knight here would be a huge mistake because then the move e6 is coming, attacking the knight and the pawn at the same time, meaning that a trade will happen. So attention, this is a deadly, we can put a deadly symbol here. So don't go there. Very, very dangerous. Very good. They avoided the big danger. So let's put some more pressure. Let's go with the rook here, attacking also this little pawn. And if they push it, which is the most natural way to defend the pawn, that's also very deadly. Let's see if they fall for any of these dangers. And the point is that the moment they push, all those squares around the king will be very weak. Okay, they are not falling for the danger, but I'm now taking here and I will then win this pawn, which is pretty much good. So we can remove this danger. They are very scary. Okay, I'll take over here, 3 cheese macaroni. And now this move is happening anyway, even if they play queen a5. So what are they threatening? Always important to ask what's the threat. I want to take, and if I take with the queen, okay, I will just ignore everything. Counterattack, counterattack. And what I want to do is exploit the weakness of this king. And if I can, to checkmate as quickly as possible. So if they take, I could even consider taking with the pawn in order not to trade off the queens. It's an option. Okay, I was trying to calculate some very interesting things. And now what? Now what? Well, we can take over here. We are attacking the... Well, we are not attacking the bishop, but we're actually attacking the knight. Twice, with the rook and with the bishop. Sorry, I was shortly frozen here. So I could take with the queen or with the pawn. If I take with the pawn, that could be a blunder. There is a check. I go here. But then the knight moves. I think this is the safest move. Wanting to keep the queen on the board. I'm a little bit scared, yeah, because now this is also dangerous. But I don't mind about this check. I will go with the queen here. And I'm threatening checkmate. If they go with the queen there, giving a check is the last one. Because then I'm moving the queen, attacking the king, threatening mate. And is there any way to save the king from the checkmate? I think the answer is no. The king cannot castle, because the queen is controlling that square. And even if the king would castle, it would also be checkmate in a few moves. Oops, the knight is attacking the queen, but GG's. I hope there is no blunder. There we go. Very quick analysis. I'm not sure why, but I didn't even consider taking back with the queen here. And in this case, since there is no knight attacking this pawn, it's actually the best move. That's it. Next game. New game. Let's go with the move e4. Ooh, we are in the Sicilian. And many players with the white pieces are struggling against the Sicilian. So rule number 1, go out with the knight on f3, like you would do in e4, e5 structures. Rule number 2, do not put this bishop on c4. That's not where the bishop is supposed to go in the Sicilian. Now we will play the main line, which is the open Sicilian, so we get to see all the ideas, plans in this opening. We take back one now with the knight. If the knight is capturing, we are very happy to take back with the queen. Now they are going with the move g6, which has the idea to place the bishop here. They will be attacking the knight a second time. What can we do? Let's just develop the bishop. Very simple. And now we are in front of a decision. Do we defend? Do we move the knight back? And I think the simplest way is to just defend. There we go, with the bishop defending the knight. Okay, we need to complete the development, right? So a very simple way is to go with the bishop on e2. You might say, like, why on e2 and not on c4 or on b5 or on d3? Well, on d3, definitely not, because we would be hanging a knight. On c4 and on b5, the knight could be quite exposed, because usually the plan for black to develop the king side, sorry, the queen side, or anyway to attack on the queen side, as the move a6 and b5 in account. So this is the plan. Usually black is developing around those moves, or at least is trying to attack the queen side with these moves. So having the bishop over there is not really smart. That's why we go with the bishop here, wanting to control all the squares, but staying a little bit behind. Now the knight is attacking this pawn, which is protecting. So we have fully developed castle the king. Everything is good. What's next? How to move on? And I will start with the move king h1. You might say, like, what is this? And it has an idea, a clear idea in mind, and is to play for the move f4, which is the most typical way to play with white against almost any type of Sicilians. We want to advance on the king side. Now, is that the smartest move in this clear position? And I think yes. The idea is to play either for the move e5 or for the move f5, right? And Okay, they usually, as you see, they go for the attack on the king side with the move b5. Now, how to move on? Can I play the move f5? What are they threatening? Well, they're threatening b4, attacking the knight that is protecting the pawn. So already we need to be a bit careful, right? One move I'm thinking is the move bishop f3, and I love this move. I'm moving the bishop out of the way for my knight to retreat and protecting the pawn and looking at the rook. So potentially my move e5 is starting to look really juicy now. Usually the rook is going to c8, not only to get rid of this problem, but also because this is the semi-open file. Okay, I didn't expect this move. What about the move e5 now? Because after pawn takes, this pawn cannot be taken, or shouldn't be taken. Also, after this pawn takes, can we take here? No, because this knight is protecting twice. Interesting. So what I'm thinking and why I'm not throwing the move e5 immediately is that after pawn takes, knight takes, this could be actually an interesting exchange sacrifice. Because then the bishop is coming on this diagonal and I could have problem. Now, this is quite deep, but it could really be a thing. So can we prepare the move e5 in some ways? Also, the queen on c8 is a bit weird because I could go with my beautiful knight towards b6. My question is, can I play queen d2 followed by rook, bringing the rook to the game? Or if I can play e5 and after pawn takes, take here with the knight, whatever, take everything and then take back. The knight has to move, probably back here. And how is this position? Well, also this is not a huge thing, but I think I should go for the move e5 because I can win an exchange and that should be objectively the best move. So after this, we take back. Now the knight, really the exchange sacrifice, it can be very interesting. But this is very bad. So I can already take here simply, give a check. And if the queen is taking, I take here. And if they take here, I take back. And what is the material at the end of it? I want 2 pieces. No, sorry, just 1. Because, but just 1 is not bad, and I think we're going for it. I could also take with the knight, by the way. But why not to trade pieces off? So let's take here, give a check. The queen is going to take. And if the queen doesn't take, we just have an extra piece, right? We can take the rook even. Oh my gosh. I was about to take the rook, which would have been a huge blunder. No. We go back protecting our queen. Crazy. Okay. So we are very happy to pre-move this move. Oh, this is actually cool. Do you see what's the huge threat after bishop takes, queen takes? This knight is under attack, right? By a pawn. And once the knight is moving, this pawn is unprotected by our queen. Ooh. We might see this happening. The knight is under the attack of the pawn. Hello there. Hello there. Would you like to move? Let's see. Very good. They didn't fall for the trap, but I will keep going. So I could play knight over here, just inviting the knight to take me, and I like it a lot. I could have taken there as well. That is also a nice possibility, but I'm trying to go for the quickest checkmate. Okay, GG's, please no blunders. Very good. Quick analysis, actually the move e5 is a slight mistake because my idea of the exchange sacrifice is actually the best move for black. In this position, there is full compensation because if you see the material, black has sacrificed the rook and in exchange they got a minor piece and a pawn, 4 points. So they are -1, right? We are +1 with white. But here, this diagonal is potentially very weak and this bishop could help the queen, so now I need to stay with the knight absolutely there and try to play with my pieces. I mean, the position is still objectively playable for white, but I think this is easier to play for black than for white. That's why if we go here back, the move e5 was probably not optimal. And how to play this with white? A very typical move that you need to know is the move knight b3. You might say like, why do we go back with the knight? Well, the reason is that this knight can always be a problem for us for many tactics, and we want to be able to go out with the queen or to go forward with our pieces to bring the rooks to the game. Another very typical move is to play the move knight d5, going on with the knight, and then we can take either with the pawn or with the queen. Usually you want to take there with a pawn in order to create, for example, let's play castle, knight d5, knight takes, we take with the pawn. Let's say this knight has the move, which the knight doesn't have already many squares. If the knight goes here, we have the move c3, boom, the knight is trapped. So the knight has to probably go on d8, which is pretty sad. Now we play the move c3 to block this bishop. And now how to play this pawn structure? Well, this pawn here is weak because cannot really be pushed. Every time this pawn is pushed 1 or 2 steps, we take it en passant if they go 2 steps. And then the bishops are going to be monsters. So this pawn is weak for the long run, and white can slowly improve the position. We definitely need to bring the rook to the game, so maybe a rook here and the rook there, something like this, and improve the pieces. The knight can come back towards d4, maybe the bishop can go on d4, trying to trade off for this bishop. Always a plan is to try to play for the move f5. Not super simple here, since there is a pawn, a bishop, and the queen looking at that square, but is a future possible plan. And as always, another idea is to play queen d2 or queen c1 to go to trade off this bishop on h6, so that all the king side is very weak. All right, lots of ideas. Hope this helped you. And now let's play the Sicilian. I think this is a very strong opening to play because white is always very confused, and they always put their bishop on c4, which is not exactly where the bishop wants to go. And if they do it right now, I'm very happy to go immediately for the move d5, which is the whole idea of the Sicilian. In the Sicilian, black is fighting for the center from move 1 with the move c5, since we are avoiding the move d4. We have the idea that if they play d4, we want to take, and then they take with the queen, and then we are attacking the queen. Bishop c4 is a huge mistake. Now we play the move d5, we're attacking the pawn and the bishop at the same time. We take back with the pawn, attacking the bishop that has to move another time. Oh, okay. And now this bishop also is at risk to get trapped. But for now, we will just keep going with the development. So I will go out with the knight, and then with the other knight, bishop here, bishop there, castle. These are all very good moves. Let's protect this pawn, which was attacked twice. I really don't like this move. What are they attacking? Nothing. Nothing at all. So I will just play bishop here, wanting to castle my king. Queen f3. That's not ideal for them. So I already could play the move bishop g4, attacking the queen that doesn't have many squares, huh? Doesn't have many squares. Vamos. We go for it. The queen is left almost without squares and needs to start go around. If the queen goes here, we have already a fork and we win a piece. Yes, the queen goes there, but now we could keep attacking it with this bishop. We could. Then there is a check. Question. What if we play the move h6? Where is the knight moving? Or, I'm sorry, even better, what if we just castle, putting the king to full safety? I was shortly considering that after knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, this bishop is actually hanging. But also this knight is hanging. So I would actually win a piece. And now we can attack this queen that is really running out of squares. Where can the queen go? So here, and then we fork. That's pretty much it. So we are winning a piece after 10 moves. Not bad. What did white do wrong here? So they went with the queen out too early. They moved the same piece twice in the opening. And also they didn't develop in the best square possible, because this was just provoking the move d5, which won a tempo. Now the bishop has to move. They didn't choose, but the bishop had to move twice. So I had all the possibility to develop as quickly as possible while they were moving the same piece many times. The knight has been moving. The queen has been moving many times. And if you notice, every single one of my pieces, right, has been moving just once, except this bishop, that has been moving twice, but provoking the queen to move again. So the bishop got to a better square by forcing the queen to move again. So that was absolutely great. Okay, now attention, always look for what could be the threat. And always look if you can do anything better. For example, is this queen running out of squares? What if I go here? The queen cannot go there. The queen cannot go anywhere here. The queen cannot go backwards. So the queen cannot go behind. No. So the queen has just this square or this square. Those two places. Okay, in that case, what if I go here? Because then the queen doesn't have those two. So as just this one, and then I play h6, but then the queen is taking here. Okay, so we could also simply take there, because the queen is not super well placed where it is. So we just take here. Very good. And now what? Now we could go with the queen here. We are starting to have a battery against the king. I love this position now. I really love my position now. Let's go with the knight over there, trying to sneak towards all these weak squares around the king. I will then kick this knight away, and the knight has no squares to go. Well, it has some squares, but it's not so super good. Let's see where the queen is moving first of all. Probably on e3, I would say. Now we play h6, attacking this knight. Go away. And then... Okay. This is pretty desperate. I will just take the free piece and then exploit all these weaky squares. Let's give a check. Beautiful and juicy. And then we'll let the queen join this diagonal. And that's pretty much deadly. Pretty much it. We are also defending the knight. Not that it was really under attack, because the queen should never take the knight, since we can take it with the bishop. And do you see the threat here? We are threatening checkmate in 2 moves. Bim, boom, bam. Bim, boom, bam. Every time there is a double check, now with this discovery check, this is also a double check with the knight and with the queen, the king has to move. There is no way to stop both checks at the same time. So the king has to go back, and then we just sneak in and give checkmate. Will this happen? Let's see. Yes, and actually we have even a nicer one, which is more fancy, so I will go for that one. And this is a double check with the queen and with the knight, and GG's. There we go. 1 e4. Let's go King's Gambit. Will they take? Will they? Okay, they're accepting the gambit. Now, the whole idea of the King's Gambit is to go with the 2 pawns in the center. But I can't do it right now, because there would be the move Queen h4. So I first need to go with the knight here, controlling that square. And then, whatever, depending, we need to see what black is playing. But usually the main plan is to go for the move d4, wanting to recapture this pawn. Okay, for example, now. This pawn is under attack, so what are we going to do? I have never seen this move, and there must be a reason, and probably is that I can just push attacking this knight. And the knight has to move. Usually when this pawn, the e5 pawn is traded, the knight on f6 is a bit shaky. Shaky. I will play d4. Now this pawn is pinned, so the knight can stay there, but I'll play d4, protecting this pawn. And then I'm threatening to take also this one. Interesting. Because now the knight is threatening to go there. And I would love to play the move bishop c4, but hey, attention there. That could be dangerous. So you know what? I will go with the move knight c3. I want to develop my knight, attacking the knight. And if they trade, I'm very happy to go with these double pawns because I will be taking this pawn next, hopefully. The typical defense is to play with the move g5, but black is usually not really going for it. Now I have to give away my bishop, unfortunately. But this position looks really beautiful because I'm ready to castle long. I will take back this pawn with the queen. I will then develop the bishop, and f7 is gonna be my juicy pawn. Always I should calculate the move knight d5, because if I can, that is perfect for me. Now I will castle so that this pawn is well protected, and now it starts to be more interesting because I would be attacking the queen, the pawn, and this other pawn at the same time. There is a good defense, which is queen a5, protecting the pawn and attacking the knight. So I might, and also attacking this pawn, so I might not go for that just yet. But I'm thinking about a move d5, wanting to smash the center completely. The knight can go there, and then I can take this pawn. But why not taking this pawn immediately and waiting for that? Because there is not really a hurry to kick this knight, because maybe the knight is even better on a5, since it has at least a perspective to attack me with knight c4, threatening mate. So why should I do this? I'm not in a hurry. Let's just take this pawn, keep going with the development. And now I'm starting to see some juicy ideas. So this, but still queen there. But what about bishop here? And if the king is castling, that's gonna be very dangerous. Extremely dangerous. Because I think then I will go to take this bishop away. And then I will go with knight over there. h6, stopping the idea and also threatening a potential problem, big problem there. So I think it's time to go with the knight in the center, attacking the queen and attacking the bishop. And I want to get rid of that bishop. Get it out of the way. Queen a5 is pretty much the only move. Defending this pawn and saving the queen. Also, there is this square for the queen as well, but this is way better because you're protecting c7. Okay, so the queen is going where planned. We can take this bishop. And now we don't have to worry anymore about this diagonal, but I will play the typical prophylactic move that white is playing in almost every time they go for long castle, which is the move. Wait a second. It's king b1 generally, but I want to shortly evaluate this little problem. That is probably their idea. That's why they didn't take with the knight, because they want to go forward. So I will actually change my mind and play the move a3. It's a very specific moment. Usually you shouldn't push the pawns in front of your king because you always create a target. Now black should try to play b5 and b4. But will they have time for this before I checkmate them? I will bring my rook, looking at f7. Hello there. This pawn. And I need to find a way to attack it some more times. For example, this bishop is great, but I don't know. They should go for the move b5 immediately. Will they play it or not? Because every time you push a pawn in front of your king, you create an earlier point of breakthrough. So of touch. The two pawns are touching b4, so black has to run less to threaten a trade of pawns. Anyway, here we have a beautiful discovery check. Amazing. And I won a pawn, and now this king is running out of squares. The bishop is developed, but now this is pinned, so this move is starting to be very, very juicy. The queen can still take, so we will not go for that just yet. But I'm going to take this little pawn Very nice. And if the queen is taking, then we go for this. So the queen shouldn't take. That pawn is untouchable. Was touched. So now we win a piece. Let's not forget that black cannot castle because the king has been moving many times. So actually they cannot really do anything to save this bishop. Even if they could castle, this wouldn't be enough. But we are going to take here, and the big problem is that the king is still going to be in danger. So we take, and after this, I see a beautiful mate in 3 moves. Queen takes, check. The queen is covering, we give a check. Let's go. We give a check. The king is moving, and then we give a discovery checkmate with this beautiful knight. Okay, in this case, we actually give a mate just like this. The king is moving, only square, and this is going to be kiss of death. GG's. 0 blunders, very good. New game. We are in the Scandinavian defense, an opening that is not my favorite because the queen is going out very early and we are attacking it with the knight. So all black did right now is to go out with the queen to go back home, while we have developed already 2 minor pieces. How to develop fully and harmoniously? Well, we go with a pawn in the center. The move f6 is not just bad, but horrible. I will go with the bishop here, and I can see already some possible sacrifices. Okay, I hope this was not a blunder, because now there is a pawn hanging. Oh, imagine this is a blunder, but I think I can take here, since I'm attacking the rook, and the rook cannot be saved. I could also first take here, and then take here. So I saved my bishop before taking there. Is there then any way that black can defend? I don't think so. So I'm gonna take here, and then take this beautiful juicy pawn, and the rook is screaming for help. Now we protect the check with the bishop, and this rook is still crying for their life. But there is nothing to do. Really nothing to do. So there is also not even a counterattack that this queen can do. So we are gonna take this. And the bad news is that once we take this rook, this knight is even hanging and pinned and unprotected. So maybe c6 or c5 is the only way for this knight to get some protection. But then I can simply go for long cast, depending what they do. Yeah, c5 is good, because if c6 I could have... Oh no, I couldn't have taken. Okay, I will go long castle anyway, bringing the rook to the game. And also unpinning this bishop, why not? We have an extra rook, +5, not bad. How to finish off this game? Well, there are pretty much 2 plans. One is to try to clean up the board even more. 2 is to trade off pieces and reach an endgame. 3 is to try to give checkmate. And 4, which is my favorite, is to do all of them together. So, while you trade pieces when you can, you take 3 pieces and try to checkmate the king. So I have a queen under attack, so let's get rid while attacking a pawn. Sorry, a knight. I was shortly scared about some sort of counterattack. Very important to make sure that the queen can go back. This is a huge blunder because I can take a free knight and I'm very happy. So we are cleaning up the board, also the queen, why not? And now we will approach this king with all the pieces we can. So we trade every time you can, you trade. Now we will approach the king with the rook as well. And there we go, and there we go, and there we go. This is checkmate. Quick analysis, the move f6 was a blunder. You don't want to stay with the pawn in the square where the knight wants to go, and taking this pawn was also a mistake. For the reason we have seen, taking the bishop is perfect, and then the rook is just lost. Do not play the Scandinavian, and if you want to play this opening, don't play it this way. Okay, let's go get 1000 elo without blunders, hopefully. E4, we play the Sicilian. I love the Sicilian so much because they always put the bishop on c4, and that's not how you should play. Now I will play e6 because I'm directly going for the move d5, which is my main plan, and there we go. This is so cool because black gets already an equal position after 3 moves, where actually you have better control over the center, good possibility to develop all the pieces because now they have to take pretty much with this pawn if they don't want to lose material. Now the bishop has to move one more time, and usually I have seen lots of checks here. Bishop b5 check. This is a typical way to move the bishop because the bishop on b3 could end up being dropped. Right after these 3 pawns over there, the bishop is already going to be in danger. Let's see. I don't want to play the move a6 just to set up a threat. I want to play the best move, and the best move is to keep going with the development. The development of the knight, of the bishops. Knight here is perfect, protecting this pawn one more time. If the rook is giving a check, we can go out probably with this bishop and then ready to castle the king. There we go. I don't want to go with the other one. Oops, not pre-move. Because there would be knight g5, attacking the bishop with the rook and the knight. And I didn't like that one. Instead, this bishop over there on e7 is very solid, cannot be attacked a second time. So I'm ready to castle, and then in the future I can always upgrade the bishop on d6 once there is no pin anymore. And there we go. And you might say, like, Alessia, why didn't you try to trap this bishop with a6? And the point is that if in the opening I do the move a6, why does a simple development move, d3, to stop my idea of the move c4? That's why I don't want to play for tricks. I want to play logical, good moves and get a good position. Now, this knight is attacking this pawn, which is attacked twice, protected twice. But a move that could come up in mind is to play the move bishop g5, attacking the knight that is protecting this pawn. That's why I will play the move h6, wanting to prevent the bishop from going there. And the bishop doesn't have many other development squares because e3 ends up with a deadly fork. So bishop f4 maybe, or maybe they will just copy our idea and play the move h3 in order to limit our bishop as well. That would be very strong on g4, pinning the knight. And this is one of my favorite things in chess, to go with the bishop on... Okay. That's a sacrifice. I was shortly scared, but I think it's all good because I simply take back the piece and I say like, and now what? And now what? Exactly. When you attack, especially if you sacrifice for an attack, make sure that you have the pieces ready to attack. Because now, can you tell me who is attacking my king exactly? And this queen needs to like teletransport. The knight, the bishop as well. So nobody is really hurting my queen. And if that's the case, this could be an Uno reverse card. I should get an Uno reverse card. I will get it at some point. Subscribe so you don't miss the video where I show you an Uno reverse card. Okay, so trading is also not the right way to approach if you are attacking. Because the more you trade, the simpler is for me to defend. How do we do? So after this, rook takes. This pawn is attacked now 3 times. But I can play bishop here, and the rook cannot stay here, cannot go here, cannot go there, cannot go there. There is no check. So the rook has to go back, probably here, and then I have a 4. Oh, this is very good. Very good. We trade every time we can. And it's always important to check for in-between moves. Yes, this pawn was attacked 3 times, but I'm not defending it right now. I'm going for this. And now this is a beautiful fork. Yes, I'm checking possible defenses, sacrificing the rook to win maybe some pieces, but my knight and my bishop are both protected, and this check is very juicy. Very good. So we clean up the board, everything. Right now we are plus 1 million points. No, actually we have an extra rook and an extra piece, but I would say that's good enough, okay, to win the game. Now, what do we need to do? We need to show them the extra pieces that we have. So we need to bring out the bishop, probably here, bring out the rooks, probably there, and maybe sneak in the queen and try to give mate. For example, I have a beautiful threat. I could go with queen e3, followed by knight g4, with the idea of knight f2. And this would just end the game, pretty much. Okay, so their move is quite good. They're also attacking a pawn and also threatening rook e1. In this case, I will sacrifice a pawn because I really don't want rook e1 to happen, so I will play the move rook e8. And after this, I'm going to trade off the queens. This is a very good example of what is called in chess simplification. So to simplify the position and reach an endgame where you have so much extra material. And to do that, I pay the price of a pawn. So I think this is pretty much a good idea. The only thing I need to make sure I can do is to bring my rook and the bishop to the game. Because if I can't do that, my advantage is not showing up. So let's proceed. If the bishop is coming here attacking the knight and the pawn behind, I can go with the king up. Now the king is attacking the rook, but I have this beautiful check. Checking the king and protecting my rook. The king is going back home. Very good. And now I could play bishop here wanting to trade, but I will play another move. A bit more ambitious. And this rook over there. I'm not sure anymore. Because there is king f1. Now let's just play the logical move, which is to bring out the bishop, wanting to trade for this other bishop, and then ready to bring up the rook. This is how you should play. Not to overcomplicate, not to move the same piece twice. That's how to play logical chess. Now I take back with the rook just because I want to give my knight this beautiful square once it was attacked by the pawn. I saw that move coming. Now the pawn needs to be protected by the rook, which is going to be very sad. Okay, the rook is not even caring about that pawn. I don't know if it's smart or not, but I understand that it's not simple to play this position with the black pieces. Now, the rooks in the endgame are always so strong in the second rank. I will go also with the other rook, ready to shine. And my knight might approach here. So now this pawn is not going anywhere, but I see already some beautiful combinations. The only way to defend this pawn is with the move rook f2. But after the rook is there, now this pawn is saying like, oops, why am I there? Okay, let's go. I'll take this pawn. I'm giving a check. The king is just one square. And now what? Now what? I will clean this pawn as well. I could trade off material by playing the move rook h2 check, king takes, and then this beautiful fork. But to be honest, I just want to give mate. So I want to now get the knight out of the way. Yes, why not? And I will put the knight over here. Because I'm threatening mate. So this knight cannot be taken because of this. Anyway, the position was already lost. GG's. No blunders also for this video, and this means that there will be episode 3 next week. In the meantime, go check out the most aggressive opening for black, aka the Sicilian defense. I love this opening, and it works so well against the beginners and intermediate players. Go check it out. Thank you for watching. Ciao, ciao.